The first alien I ever killed was trying to save my life. That truth didn't reach me until much later. Long after the smoke cleared, long after the screams faded into vacuum, long after Earth had already earned its place among the stars. But in that moment, as crimson blood floated like shattered rubies inside the ruined corridor of Station Helios, all I knew was that something impossible had gone terribly wrong. And that was only the beginning. Helios was supposed to be neutral ground, a ring-shaped megastation suspended between worlds, where humanity first met the Kelry Collective, an ancient coalition of species bound by logic, hierarchy, and rules written before our sun ever ignited. We came as petitioners, observed, judged. I came as a soldier, Captain Mara Vance, Earth Defense Force, escort detail, cannon fodder with a uniform and a pulse rifle that suddenly felt far too small for the universe I'd stepped into. The alarm started without warning. Not klaxons, screams. A psychic howl that clawed through the skull, bypassing ears entirely. Humans dropped first. Some clutched their heads. Others simply collapsed, eyes bleeding, brains overloaded by a frequency never meant for us. I stayed standing. I didn't know why. Not then. The corridor lights died, replaced by emergency red. Smoke poured from ruptured conduits, and through it came shapes, tall, angular silhouettes with shimmering armor and weapons that bent light itself. Kelry enforcers, our supposed allies. What the hell is happening? Someone shouted over comms. No answer came, only gunfire. I fired back on instinct. Training overrode disbelief. One enforcer fell, its body cracking like glass as it hit the deck. That was the alien I killed, the one trying to reach me. I didn't realize it was reaching for a translator glyph, or that its weapon was powered down, or that behind it, something far worse was coming. What I saw next changed everything. The attackers weren't Kelry. They wore stolen armor. Their movements were wrong, too erratic, too hungry. Zalith marauders, a nomadic species known for harvesting entire stations, leaving nothing but bone and echo behind. The enforcers had been running toward us, toward me, but by then it was already too late. The station burned for 6 minutes. 6 minutes that felt like 6 lifetimes. When it was over, Helios was half-gutted, and the first interspecies summit lay in ruins. Humans blamed the Kelry. The Kelry blamed human instability. War loomed, and none of us were prepared for the truth. They took me into custody 3 days later, not with shackles, but with silence. A Kelry delegation arrived above Earth in ships shaped like folded stars. They requested one thing. Me, I expected interrogation, trial, execution. Instead, they brought me before an ancient being called Trollocan Sensus, a being so old its thoughts moved slower than tectonic plates, yet cut sharper than any blade. "You did not fall," Troll said, its voice resonating directly in my mind. When our warning wave was released, every human collapsed, except you. I didn't feel any warning, I said. Just chaos. Precisely, it replied. You are anomalous. They showed me recordings. My brain activity during the psychic scream. Neural resilience off the charts. Adaptive plasticity that shouldn't exist in a species barely crawling beyond its home system. You are unfinished, Troll said, but dangerous. The Kelry had rules. No species could join their collective until they met certain thresholds, emotional stability, psychic compatibility, technological restraint. Humanity failed every metric, except one, me. And that was when they made their offer. The Zalith were mobilizing. A full-scale incursion aimed not just at Earth, but at the collective itself. The Kelry needed something they lacked. Instinct, rage, adaptability. They needed humans, but they would never admit that publicly. So instead, they chose a symbol. They chose me, around the halfway point of that meeting. When I thought this was about diplomacy, I learned the real reason I'd survived. The psychic scream wasn't a warning. It was a test. The Zalith had infiltrated Helios months earlier, hiding a resonance weapon designed to wipe out all sapient minds in a single pulse. The Kelry triggered a counterwave, one meant to neutralize it. Humans weren't supposed to survive exposure. I did, and in that moment, the galaxy's perception of us began to change. But that revelation came with a cost. They implanted me. Not a bomb. Not a leash. A bridge. Kelry neural lattice woven into my brain, allowing me to interface with their fleets, feel their tactical projections, sense probability the way they did. I could command alien ships with a thought, but I could also feel their fear. And they were terrified. Training was brutal. Simulations where entire worlds burned because I hesitated. Scenarios where I had to choose which species survived based on cold math. I failed often. Your weakness is attachment. Trawl observed after one such exercise, where I sacrificed a fleet to save a refugee convoy. I call humanity. I snapped. The ancient beings studied me for a long time. Then perhaps that is why you endure. The war began without ceremony. Zalith war forms pour from rift space like locusts made of metal and bone. They didn't negotiate, didn't retreat. They consumed. The collective's fleets were precise, efficient, predictable. The Zalith adapted faster. Losses mounted. That's when the Kelry did something unthinkable. They gave me command, not just of a human battle group, of everything. What I saw next changed everything. Became a phrase whispered across the fleets as humans charged where logic said retreat, flank where no algorithm predicted, and held lines long after shields failed. We fought dirty. We fought angry, and the galaxy watched. At the war's lowest point, Earth was targeted. A Zalith armada emerged at the edge of the solar system, too large to stop in time. The collective advised evacuation. Probability of success, 12%. I refused. Send me, I said, alone. I piloted a Kelry dreadframe into the heart of the swarm. I felt every enemy mind brush against mine. Cold, predatory, ancient. I broadcast something they'd never encountered. Defiance. Human memories. Music. Love. Loss. The raw, chaotic storm of emotion we carried. The Zalith faltered. Just for a moment. It was enough. The fleet arrived. Earth survived. I didn't expect to. They pulled me from the wreckage days later. Barely alive. Neural lattice burned out. The bridge severed. When I woke, Trawl was there. You are no longer compatible, it said. The connection is gone. Did we win? I asked. Yes. The war ended weeks later. The Zalith retreated beyond known space, wounded by something they couldn't understand. Us. At the final assembly, the collective gathered. Species that once dismissed us as volatile primitives now stood in silence. Trawl spoke for them all. To fight alongside humanity, it said, is to be honored and respected beyond worlds. Earth was granted full membership, no probation, no conditions, just trust. As for me, I return home. No rank, no command, just a scarred soldier watching the stars from a quiet hillside. Sometimes at night, I still feel echoes of alien thoughts brushing mine. And I wonder if the galaxy truly understands what it invited in. Because humanity doesn't fight to conquer. We fight to protect. And now, the universe knows exactly what that means.